All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and our latest RBT exam practice series where we're going through our next practice exam and reviewing the questions together. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack and other practice exams. As always, when you pass, please let us know so we can include you in your Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. 77. Damon never asks questions in class, but is often confused afterwards about what he was taught. His teacher wants to help him raise his hand more, so when she says, "Does anyone have any questions?" she looks at Damon and raises her hand. What type of prompt is this? Okay, so we've got a prompt question, and we are looking at whose behavior. Who is prompting out the response? Well, the teacher is prompting out Damon's response. So we need to look at the teacher's behavior. So the teacher, when she wants Damon to raise his hand, she will say, "Does anyone have any questions?" and immediately look at Damon and raise her hand. When the teacher, in this case, imitates the entire behavior, right? She is duplicating the behavior. She is showing Damon what behavior she wants to see. What do we call that? What type of prompt is that? A, verbal. It's not a verbal prompt. And why? Well, the SD is, "Does anyone have any questions?" So don't confuse that for the prompt. The prompt follows the SD. The SD is, "Does anyone have any questions?" Following that is the prompt where she raises her hand. So if you look at B, model, that's what the teacher is doing. She's modeling the behavior to Damon, what she wants to see. It isn't a C, physical prompt, because she's obviously not physically contacting Damon, no hand over hand, no physical contact is occurring, isn't a physical prompt. And it's not a movement prompt because she's not making any gestures. Now, you could say, well, she's raising her hand, which is true, but there's a difference between a model prompt and a movement gestural prompt. With a gestural prompt, it's a slight movement. With a model prompt, the prompt is actually what you want to see. So since the teacher is actually engaging in the complete behavior that she wants to see, we would consider this a B, model prompt. Understand the difference between a model prompt and a gestural prompt. 78. Joshua is taking whole interval data on a client's behavior. Each interval is 10 seconds long, and he is taking 6 intervals worth of data. The behavior happened for the following duration during each interval: 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 seconds, 6 seconds, and 10 seconds. How many responses should Joshua record? So we have a measurement question, and we're looking to identify how many responses Joshua is going to record. The first thing we have to figure out is what type of measurement is Joshua taking. Well, Joshua is taking whole interval data. So how does whole interval data work? Well, we have our intervals, and if the behavior occurs throughout the entire interval, we record one response. So how long is our interval? Well, each interval is 10 seconds long. So for a whole interval, the behavior needs to occur for that entire 10 seconds to count. And we have the data points. So first data point, 8 seconds, would not be a response. 9 seconds, not a response. 10 seconds, yes, it occurred the entire interval. 3 seconds, no. 6 seconds, no. 10 seconds, yes. So how many responses is he going to record? Well, A, 2, is clearly the answer. With whole interval data and any interval data, you record a single response per interval. With whole interval, it's got to happen the entire time. Since our interval is 10 seconds long, we're looking for a behavior that's occurring 10 seconds. And we have 2 instances of that occurring. So how many responses should he recur? Well, A, 2. 6 is just a total amount of data he's taken, right? That's the total amount of data points, but not all data points occurred for the entire time. And 0 is not true because he had 2 interval points that occurred the whole time. So how many responses is Joshua going to record? 2. 79. For your birthday, your client baked you a batch of chocolate chip cookies. When you arrive at session, your client surprises you and offers you a cookie. Can you take the cookie? Now be careful here. This is really a gift question. And why is it a gift question? Well, because with the new ethics code says you can take gifts on a non-annual basis that are under $10. Now, if he's baking the batch of chocolate chip cookies, that's going to be under $10. And since it's for your birthday, you should be okay taking these cookies. Now, what isn't allowed? Well, it's not okay for you to go there every session and start taking food. Again, the new ethics code says you can take gifts non-routinely, right? Not non-annual, non-routinely under $10. So on very special occasions, your birthday would qualify. So can you take the cookie? A, no, you cannot take food from your client. Well, since it's presented as a gift for your birthday, it's under $10 and it isn't routine, there really shouldn't be anything wrong with you taking the cookie this one time. B, no, this is a gift and you cannot accept a gift from your client. New ethics code says you can, with stipulations, right? Under $10, not routinely. C, yes, as long as you don't accept this type of food offering on a routine basis. Absolutely, right? As long as you're not accepting food on a routine basis, and it's only for these special occasions, under $10 shouldn't be a problem. D, yes, there are no ethical considerations to be made. Anytime you're taking gifts or food or anything, there's always ethical considerations. So D is definitely wrong. What you're looking for here is C. You can take it as long as you don't accept this food on a routine basis. One more time, the ethical code says the new gift rules under $10 on a non-routine basis. 80, consider the following goal. Anna will use full phrases to communicate when she wants or needs something 10 times per day for 3 consecutive days with 80% accuracy. If you were using a continuous schedule of reinforcement, when would you reinforce Anna? Now, this is a pretty straightforward question because it tells you exactly what you're going to do. It's telling you you're using a continuous schedule of reinforcement, and only one type of continuous schedule exists, and that is a fixed ratio 1. And in a fixed ratio 1, you reinforce every single time the behavior occurs. So this goal, while relevant, you're only concerned with what is the behavior, and your behavior is full phrases to communicate. Because if you're using a continuous schedule, you're going to reinforce every behavior that occurs, the target behavior, and the target behavior is full phrases. So when are you going to use a continuous schedule? If you're using a continuous schedule, when are you going to reinforce Anna? A, every time she used a full phrase to communicate. Yes, with the continuous schedule, also known as an FR1, a fixed ratio 1, every single time the behavior occurs, you should reinforce. What about B? Once she used 10 full phrases to communicate. Well, that would be closer to an FR10. And a continuous schedule is a long way away from a fixed ratio 10 schedule. C, on average, each time she used a full phrase to communicate, that is going to be a variable schedule. Remember, average is a variable schedule. Continuous is fixed. And then D, the first time she used a full phrase after 1 minute has elapsed. Well, that would be an interval schedule. A continuous schedule is a ratio schedule, more specifically a fixed ratio schedule. So if you're using a continuous schedule of reinforcement, you're going to reinforce Anna every single time she engages in a target behavior. The target behavior is full phrases. So every time Anna used a full phrase to communicate, you're going to reinforce her. 81. Gavin wants a new video game. His mom tells him that he can buy the video game if he is able to go to the store and purchase it for himself. If Gavin has never purchased a video game for himself, which of the following will be the first thing we would do? Now let's think about this. This looks like a generalization question, first and foremost, right? Because Gavin wants a video game. He wants to go to the store and buy it for himself. Great goal. Very important that Gavin can be independent and purchase this for himself. Now, he's never done it before. So we're looking for the first thing we're going to do. You got to put your analytic cap on here. We're looking for the very first thing we're going to do. Gavin doesn't have the skill, but he wants it. What is the first thing we're going to do? A, take Gavin to a real video game store and have him attempt to purchase the game himself. Well, Gavin's never done it, so he doesn't know the steps. He doesn't have the skill. Taking him to the video game store won't teach him that. We've got to teach him that first. B, teach Gavin the steps to purchasing the game using forward chaining. Well, before we can use forward chaining, what do we need to do? Well, we need to C, identify the steps to purchasing a video game for himself. Before anything else, we've got to identify steps to purchasing the game. Remember, Gavin doesn't have the skills yet. And so if he doesn't have the skills, we can't A, generalize, we can't B, start teaching him. The first thing we have to do is identify the steps. And this is more of a behavior analytic question as a supervisor question, but this is where I want you to get to, where you're starting to think on a more advanced level. And then D, set up a system where Gavin can make money to purchase the game himself. A, B, and C, or A, B, and D are all great examples. But the question is asking for the first thing we're going to do when Gavin doesn't have the skill. So since Gavin doesn't have the skill, we have to start from the beginning. And the first thing from the beginning is identifying the steps to purchasing the video game for himself. And then 82, what would be the most effective way to take a neutral stimuli and turn it into a reinforcing stimuli? What this question is really saying is, how do you pair a neutral stimuli, meaning a stimuli that has no properties, and turn it into a stimuli with reinforcing properties? Just like 81, this is a more challenging question because it's worded in a way that's more technical. All it's saying is you're taking a neutral stimuli that isn't reinforcing or punishing, and you're trying to make it reinforcing. So if I were to say, let's take praise and develop it as a reinforcer, what would you do? Well, I would pair it. So let's look for pairing. A, provide the neutral stimuli following a correct response. Well, to pair, we also have to pair it with a reinforcing stimuli. A is out. B, use the neutral stimuli as motivating operation. Again, the neutral stimuli has no properties, so we can't use it for anything yet. We have to pair it. C, provide the neutral stimuli with a reinforcing stimuli following a correct response. Yes, with C, we're actually engaging and pairing, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. And then D, conduct a preference assessment using the neutral stimuli. Again, neutral stimuli, we're trying to make it reinforcing. To make it reinforcing, we're going to have to pair it. So we need the answer that says we're going to pair neutral stimuli with reinforcing stimuli. That happens to be C. Provide the neutral stimuli with a reinforcing stimuli following a correct response. Thank you for watching. Please check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. Like, subscribe, let us know when you pass so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.